Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! This really has been the greatest honor of my life to create all these beautiful videos about Descendants and Zombies for the fans of these franchises. While the argument will forever exist and happen about what franchise is more popular than the other, I really think that Zombies has forever stood alone in a category of its own and really stood its ground because of the numbers Zombies have been generating, because of the ratings that Zombies have been receiving. It is truly unbelievable how people just can't stop talking about Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires ever since the premiere happened this past summer, which was the greatest honor of my life, having the chance to sit back and review Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, because that's what I did. I watched it with each and every one of you. I didn't take notes on it. I didn't have any predictions to have made about Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires because I just wanted to be excited about it like each and every one of you were. And that's what you came away from it with, a greater appreciation for what this movie really meant to your heart and how it will forever and always hold a special place in your heart. And that's exactly what I wanted to have happen for you. I didn't want to be one of those guys on YouTube to upload a reaction video that made no sense about what a vampire and a daywalker may have been or could have been, or been seen Googling what a daywalker and a vampire is and what the differences between the two factions. I think there will be a great deal of conflict, if I can make an early on prediction for Zombies 5, between the two factions because of the relationship between Victor and Nova that happened at the conclusion of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, when they realized that this was a moment they wanted to capitalize on and spend the rest of their lives together. I say this because what's so cool about Zombies 5 is, by the time we see it, is that they are still so young, so they're still trying to figure out their place in the world and really figure out their place in the Disney franchise. And I really believe they have a chance of going down in history, just as Ed and Addison did, of being one of the most revered power couples in Disney history. Because when you look at the numbers for the videos that I have for these videos on Victor and Nova's relationship, I get hundreds of views because of Freya, Skye, and Malachi Barton. And while I can say thank you to them for, generating so much traffic to this YouTube channel, and perhaps should be, the people I should be thanking are each and every one of you, because you took a guy who used to host a radio show out of his parents' basement, which was very poorly financed on bingo nights and card game nights in his mom's basement, and you gave him a chance to return on YouTube with great reviews about Descendants of Zombies to be seen and heard from again. After a 5-year hiatus I took away from radio and podcasting, you guys brought me back as your voice of Descendants of Zombies, and I have the cast of both Descendants of Zombies to thank for that, but more importantly and most of all, I have each and every one of you, because this is exactly what my mom and my dad would have wanted, and somewhere up there tonight they are watching this podcast and they are so proud that I'm relaying a message of kindness inspired through the eyes of the cast of Descendants of Zombies to each and every one of you, because you don't really realize how much of a profound impact kindness can really have on a person's life, or how much further a little bit of kindness can take a person in their lifetime, just knowing that somebody cares. So perhaps we should all pick up the phone today, or I am somebody that we care about, just to let them know that we love them, because that little bit of extra love in somebody's life really can go the distance and really make a profound impact on their heart, just as Zombies did for all of us. Currently, right now, the entire Zombies collection is available for streaming on Disney+, so I think we should have a watch party leading up to Halloween watching the entire Zombies collection, because I think it will give us a greater appreciation of really what the true meaning is of the Zombies franchise. And as you watch every chapter of Zombies before your eyes, really pay attention to the moments, and pay attention to the power of the script, and really think about what your favorite moments truly have been over the course of the 4 Zombies movies. By the time Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was presented, it was a very different script. It allowed time for a development of a very powerful script, setting up for key moments like the passing of the torch, and all these key scenes, like when they decided they were going to go on a road trip after they had graduated college, and what they wanted to get the most out of life. And then they found Victor and Nova, members of 2 different groups, vampires being one and the others being daywalkers. And it was a very unique twist on the vampire saga, the vampire story that had never been told before. That's what was really unique about Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. And when you watch Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires again, which I'm sure you've done 100 times, because we're all crazy about Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, right? I think I'm correct about that. So when you watch Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires again, just pay attention to just how significant each moment is, and how much it means to not only the franchise, but to you. And think about that. Take a brief moment of silence, pause the movie several times if you have to, and really put it into perspective just how much of a profound impact these franchises have had on our hearts, because we've taken these franchises with us everywhere we go. In everything we do, we think about Zombies and Descendants cast members and what they would do in situations that we're caught up within. Perhaps we're bullied in high school, we're under a lot of peer pressure, so we think about what the cast of Descendants and Zombies would do. And I really appreciate how they're so honest and do everything with an open heart and an open mind, especially Meg Donnelly and Freya Skye, who never shy away from questions having to do with anything, even questions outside of Descendants and Zombies, which I've seen. I remember an interview Meg Donnelly did a while back, and she said that Freya Skye had one of the most promising futures that she had ever seen in her life. As soon as she laid eyes on Freya as an executive producer of the Zombies franchise, she knew Freya was the girl she wanted to carry on her legacy. And I really believe that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, Freya Skye is going to be one of the most talked about pop stars in Disney history, because that's what I get from all the comments I read on Freya Skye's music videos for Gold's Gone and Fake It, because I really believe that Freya Skye still has a long way to go, but even though she has a long way to go, she has each and every one of you. And here's the thing, I see these girls crying all the time on TikTok videos and on social media platforms, and I say to myself, you know, why? Is it because of the criticism? Is it because it makes the critics feel good that they get reactions out of Freya Skye and Kylie Contrell? Is it because of how they make these celebrities feel that they're getting away with it? The thing is, they've got to realize that even with how they miss their friends, you guys are some of the best friends they've ever had and had the honor of making, because in all of my lifetime, I have never seen a franchise have such a profound impact with so many key moments that bring us back to reality every single time. Every single time we feel lost, just as fast as we can snap our fingers, Zombies always brings us back to reality, because even though the story revolved around 4 people who wanted to spend the together, it made us think of our own lives and situations we had been caught up within, situations we may have never wanted to have anything to do with, situations we wanted everything to do with, people we wanted to be friends with more than anything else in our lives, that one guy that we see on the school bus every day or sits behind us in class that we had the biggest crush on. It allowed us to put our entire lives into perspective in a way that I think a lot of people tend to forget about. And I wish Disney would come out with more franchises to kind of follow along with this trend. But it's going to be a long time before Disney comes out with something as powerful and as effectively distributed as what Descendants and Zombies was. Everything they could put the Descendants or Zombies name on in the way of merch, they did. Every single moment they could have a bit of PR happening for Descendants and Zombies, they were on it. And the thing was, the cast was always there. And the cool thing about the cast of Descendants and Zombies was, the Zombies cast most of all the cast would come out for the PR. Sometimes you would see 3 or 4 members of the cast of Descendants to promote the movie, but when it came to the PR for Zombies, the Zombies cast were all in. For whatever show they were doing interviews for, there were times they would do interviews up to 35 minutes for a show on YouTube. And that was really cool. And one of the things I always noticed was the appreciation between Meg Donnelly and Freya Skye, because she knew that Freya Skye was going to be the girl to carry on her legacy. And I just want to say this for the record. Regardless of how people may or may not feel about Freya Skye is doing a fabulous job. And if we see up to 3 new Zombies movies, and we get to Zombies 8, 9, 10, what have you, I think that her music, this character's distribution, being a karate fighting kung fu panda kind of chick, which I think is really cool. Come to think of it, I've always wanted to work in a noodle shop and drive a noodle truck. But wait a minute, I think I'd prefer being a full-time YouTube creator, which you guys can make happen by hitting my subscribe button. I think her personality's off the charts. It's really mind-blowing, and I think never enough nice things can be said about Freya Skye. And this chemistry between Freya and Malachi, absolutely beautiful. I can see why you guys were so excited about the Worlds Collide Tour, because you were part of history, and you had the opportunity to see these stars perform on stage, which made it the greatest concert experience I think Disney has done in a long time. The collaboration of this, the way it was promoted, the way it was marketed, with the merchandise and the ticket sales. I know the ticket sales were a bit pricey, but I mean $200 really went a long way. If you had a VIP package experience, you had a lot to be thankful for, because in all honesty, it was an immersive experience. And that's why, for the life of me, I think a lot of people really got away with saying a lot of unnecessary things in the way of reviews about the Descendants Zombies Worlds Collide Tour experience. You think that people would have been more appreciative of being a VIP guest at this tour and being able to attend the Q&As, which were very informative, because we found out things like how Freya Skye likes a plain cheeseburger at McDonald's, and her passion for board games and video games. I say this because I was the biggest PlayStation fanatic in the world. PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, I had virtually every video game you can think of. I don't have them all, but I have virtually every video game you can think of. And I would love for Freya Skye to release some of that pent-up aggression she has about her career by playing video games like Resident Evil with me. I say this because I have a greater appreciation for people like Freya Skye and her passions in life, because Undeniably, Freya Skye has one of the most kind-hearted personalities I think I've ever seen in my life. This British accent I can never seem to get enough of, her energy, how she brings everything to life, how she brings the best of everybody she works with. I mean, the cast in New Zealand were so appreciative of that moment, and everybody who was a part of this production from New Zealand was just so appreciative of just being lost in the moment with the Zombies cast, because they knew they were going to be a part of history, because undeniably, this really history, and it became history because of how everybody felt about it and how much it meant to Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim. So seeing Freya Skye and Malachi Burton carrying on their legacy truly will forever and always hold a special place in our heart as they remain behind the camera, having something to do with this franchise moving forward. I just want to put it out there that if Disney would consider selling me the franchise as Descendants of Zombies, I really would make the most of this opportunity. You would see far more characters than ever before, way better storylines, because I think it's all about creative energy and really being interested in what you're doing. And I think that people like Jennifer Fang and Kimmy Gatewood coming in now for Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland, this is a new producer, and we've had 3 different producers for 3 different movies. And the thing is, I really believe that if we're having 3 different producers, it's almost as if they lose interest in the franchise ever before something gets off the ground. You need to sign one guy or one girl to being an executive producer who is going to remain with the franchise and see it on through. If there's going to be a road to success paved, there has to be people dedicated to this franchise. And I think seeing it being a revolving door when it comes to a producer, when Kenny Ortega was there, he stayed on for 3 movies. He had signed on to a contract for 3 movies, just as he did with High School Musical and Hocus Pocus, because there's a rumor that Hocus Pocus 3 is going to be happening one last time, which is going to be really cool. The thing is, I think that if you're dedicated to what you do, you should remain on board with the project and see it on through. So if I was the writer and producer of Descendants of Zombies, I would be the one producer that you could always rely on with the best storylines and the best creative energy ever exemplified for the franchise. Because when you're just there for one movie, like Kimmy Gatewood probably will be for Descendants 5, and then by the time Descendants 6 happens, we'll have a new writer and producer. Being a revolving door, it's not really much to be excited about, only the fact that we don't know what this producer is going to be offering us because they're going to be doing it for the first time. And you kind of question whether or not, they have that same appreciation that you do for fairy tales like Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella, because I really do have a greater appreciation for Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella because I can talk about it for hours. I remember being a teenager and still being infatuated with Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella characters and playing video games and board games inspired by them, reading the books because I've read every fairy tale book you can think of. And I really am excited about, live actions coming into a fruition like Hercules, because we've never seen it before by 2027. So I think in 2027, Descendants of Zombies is going to be propelled to a height of unprecedentedness that we've never ever seen before. And I think Disney is really going to capitalize on this, with rumors already circulating online now about leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour happening, which is really cool because we're going to see these stars touring overseas. And the cool thing about these stars touring overseas is it provides us with an opportunity and more of a chance to see them have more global exposure, and more people are going to find out what they're really all about, and more PR is going to be happening for it too. So I think this time next year it's going to be a really exciting time because it's slated to happen in the lateral part of 2026. I think I got that right. And I think that this time of year, everybody just becomes so interested and engulfed in everything that Descendants of Zombies is happening for. Because this time every year, we have a Zombies Marathon happening on Disney Plus or Disney Channel. We have so many different creative projects happening, especially around the holidays. So with Thanksgiving happening in the United States, followed by Christmas and, Halloween ever before that, I think Descendants of Zombies really kicks it into a high gear. And more people become excited about it, because I remember when the Red Christmas music video dropped just after the premiere of The Rise of Red the previous summer, and then by December, to celebrate the holidays, here comes Kylie Control with Red Christmas. And I got to tell you guys, that was the catchiest song that I've ever heard in my life. And then Freya Skye comes out with this new EP months later, before the premiere of Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires, with songs like Can't Fake It and Gold's Gone. And there's such a high energy in every music video and every song that she sings, such a high energy that she brought to the Worlds Collide Tour, that I think never enough profound thank yous can be given to or extended to, because she really did bring it to life in a way that no other artist on that cast was able to do it. Kylie Control did it, but there were very few people that you were pretty interested in. The only ones you were really interested in were Kylie Control and Freya Skye. And it was because of the talent. It was because of how appreciative they were to be in your guys' presence. They were just as appreciative of each and every one of you as you were of them, which made this tour so special. The only thing that I envy is that I wasn't in the crowd to review it, because I would have been the best reviewer and probably the most popular one there. Everybody probably would have wanted my autograph for how I feel about Descendants and Zombies. Because if you're looking for a guy who showcases these franchises for their true worth and the true value behind them, then you need to look no further than this YouTube channel, because this YouTube channel will forever and always be here, providing you with great analogies about Descendants and Zombies, because I really do love having the watch hours increase on this YouTube channel, seeing the subscribers going up all the time, because on the other end of whoever hits that subscribe button is a hardcore fan of Descendants and Zombies who are diehard, who have never quit on these franchises. And the cool thing about this YouTube channel is there is so much of a diversity presented with Descendants and Zombies. So there are fans of the original trilogy from 2015 up to 2019, and there are fans of this new trilogy, of course, which is bound to become a trilogy in due time from 2024 to 2026. So with the summer of 2026 providing us with an opportunity to meet new characters like Leomani Segura's character Pink, and of course this new character Hazel Hook, which is going to be a tremendous addition to the Descendants cast, and new fairy tale lands and stories being created. I'm really excited about all the consequences of time travel that are going to be looked at, because they're going to be more than just one. It's not just going to be about how Red wakes up one morning and she has a sister because of one of the many consequences of time travel, because we remember how the movie ended. And it ended with that infamous quote, that very haunting quote from Uma about how one shouldn't expect to mess with the fabric of time and never expect consequences or to get away with it. So because of that, every single time you see that, that sets up for a new chapter. And then people go on YouTube all the time, they see these ridiculous reviews of how we need to stop making Descendants and Zombies movies because the budget isn't living up to a certain criteria, and this happened and that should have never happened. It's a bunch of crap. And each and every one of you need to really understand there's a greater appreciation for Descendants and Zombies that exists inside of your heart, and that's what the critics can't stand, is how much you love this franchise. So I have this to tell you guys. If you're watching this video and you're a fan of Descendants and Zombies, as I've said many times over the years, if I haven't said it 1,000 times, it's that there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants and Zombies and the stars that you're a fan of. If you have a Freya Skye poster on your wall in your room, if you have her CD, play it. If you have her album downloaded on iTunes or Spotify, play it to your heart's content. Have fun with it. Have fun with your predictions about Descendants and Zombies, and don't ever give in to these critics to get reactions out of them. Because in all honesty, that's what they want you to do. And I really believe in you, and I really trust in you that you're going to hit my subscribe button, because you see the value behind every video that I put out about Descendants and Zombies, because I really do have a greater appreciation to showcase for each and every one of you about Descendants and Zombies. I really love talking about these franchises and the potential of these stars, which really goes to the stars and beyond, to the moon and back. Because Freya Skye has this undeniable passion for how much she loves being lost in the moment with each and every one of you. And I see that every single time that girl steps in on stage and falls asleep on a tour bus. I really wish that Freya Skye has a great future ahead of her, and I'm going to do everything I can getting behind her to support her for the foreseeable future, because you guys love her so much. You're always looking her up on YouTube. You're always finding different reviews. But I feel as if these reviews that are being uploaded in the form of videos or interviews with Freya Skye that may run for up to 10 minutes on YouTube really aren't living up to a certain criteria, and I'll tell you why they're not living up to a certain criteria. It's because these interviews that are being done with Freya and Meg and Milo aren't being done with an open heart and an open mind. And I think if more people approach these podcast interviews with an open heart and an open mind, there would be a greater appreciation and a certain value that would be seen in these interviews that these stars do. Because I see them growing very tired of being asked the same repetitive questions all the time. So what I've always tried to do is separate my interviews that I did over the last 25 years and make it sound like a conversation, because the best interviews that you will find with these stars are interviews that are very hard to find because they're extreme rarity, where they feel as if it's a phone conversation between two best friends who have been friends all of their lifetime. That's what you have to do with an interview. It's not about necessarily writing down 15 questions on a piece of paper with a pencil and then having that piece of paper in front of you for the entire interview or cue cards. It's all about doing it with an open heart and an open mind. And if you can have that be like a conversation between two people that you have on the phone all the time, then you have something to be far more appreciative of and something far more excited to be about. And that's what I like to get out of these interviews with these stars, to show them the greater appreciation behind what they do and the greater appreciation that exists in their heart for life. Because all they've ever wanted to be is the best of friends with themselves and each and every one of you, and they need to be allowed to do that. They need to be allowed to really run with that, which is why I give you my word, if I become the writer and producer behind Descendants of Zombies, I will fire every member of the social media department so they can do everything freely with an open heart and an open mind and never have to present content to the social media department. Let them be them. Because there's only one you in this lifetime, ladies and gentlemen, and the quicker you realize there is only one you and only one opportunity you get to live that out, that experience out, even if it is as a fan of Descendants of Zombies, which I see nothing wrong with, I think that is really cool. And it's really the greatest honor of my life being here, being able to talk about Descendants of Zombies. So with that having been said, I'm going to go ahead, without even knowing how much of a reach this video is going to have, and upload it to my YouTube channel, because I know there's a diehard fan of Freya, Skye, and a diehard fan of Descendants of Zombies out there waiting on the latest episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs to stream on his YouTube channel, and I couldn't be more honored to upload it for you guys, as I have every day for the rest of my life, pretty much guaranteed and promised you. If I go in the grave for anything, it'll be for uploading Descendants of Zombies videos for each and every one of you and go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. Seriously, thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit my like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to ring my bell to stay up to date with notifications and everything happening throughout the month of October on this YouTube channel, because as I promised you, October is going to be a huge month for this YouTube channel. The countdown to Halloween, the birthdays of Freya and Ruby happening, and I'm really excited about it, as I cordially invite you to everything happening on this YouTube channel, because I think you're really going to like it here, because there's a greater appreciation for everything Descendants of Zombies. The conversation never seems to end. Stay calm and zombie on, everybody. We will talk again just after sunset tonight, which I invite you to join me for. Until then, I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke. Let's have fun talking about Descendants of Zombies.